Okay, so hi everybody. I've gotten lots of requests and questions on how to make vegan waffles and pancakes and stuff like that. I'm always getting questions on sweets. I mean, I get some other questions on things like seitan and things like that, but today I decided that I'm going to make a video showing people how easy it is to make some waffles. So I have my waffle iron here and it's pretty much heating up. Sorry for the darkness of the video. One side of my kitchen is like really weird. It's like, I don't know. So in here I have 1.5 cups of spelt flour. Okay, this is spelt flour. Let me show it to you. Boom. 1.5 cups of this stuff right here. 1.5 cups of spelt flour. And then I have a 1/2 cup of chickpea flour. Now I usually ground up my chickpea flour, and let me show you. I usually ground up my chickpea flour using just a big bag of chickpeas. So you can grind these up into flour and use that to make your chickpea flour to add to this. Or you can also buy your chickpea flour. Garbanzo bean flour is chickpea flour. Garbanzo beans and chickpeas, as you see right here, they're exactly the same thing. So, so this is 1.5 cups of spelt and a 1/2 cup of chickpea flour. Okay, so that's what I have in here so far. 1.5 cups of spelt, 1/2 cup of chickpea flour. Okay, and then I have this right here, a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt. So I added a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt to the 1.5 cups of spelt and 1/2 cup of chickpea flour. So this is a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt. And also to this, I added 2 tablespoons of coconut sugar. And this is coconut sugar right here. Okay, this is coconut sugar. So again, 1.5 cups of spelt flour, 1/2 cup of chickpea flour, 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt, 2 tablespoons of coconut sugar. And I also added 2 tablespoons of sea moss gel. This is my sea moss gel. I keep it in the fridge. Yes, you're supposed to keep it in a glass container, but I've had great success keeping it inside of one of my Ninja containers. I've had no problems. I made a huge amount, and I've been using this for quite some time. It was all the way up here when I first made it, and I use it for everything. It's good for you, very nutritious. So back to the sea moss gel. So I got the sea moss gel in here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to start to mush up the sea moss gel into the flour, because the sea moss gel is kind of solid. But when I add my sparkling mineral water, which is some Perrier right here, I just get the plain kind. You can get the kind with lime as well, but you know, if you don't want your stuff to be, you know, with the lime flavor, you just, you know. So I never really measure unless I'm doing a recipe, and I think I did do the measurements one time, but just for the sake of this video so you guys can know. So I'm gonna pour about 1 cup so far. Okay, so this is 1 cup of, so I'm just pouring this in. This is 1 cup. This is 1 cup of the sparkling mineral water. You can get Pellegrino, you can get Perrier, but I really like Perrier, so Perrier. Just saying it in with the true French accent. So you see, this is about 1 cup of the sparkling, and you see how it's really thick. So you don't want it that thick. So I'm gonna add about another 3/4 cup. So I'm just okay. So this is another 3/4 cup, and I'm not going to add it all. I'm just going to slowly, I put about half in right now. I put in about half. So I'm just mixing it around. And you don't want to mix it a lot because you want the oxygen, you want the bubbles to not completely, you don't want them to completely go away. So you see how I'm stirring it like real easy. So that was like, this is like half of the second 3/4 cup. So I put the first cup and you see it's starting to get a little. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish and put the rest of the 3/4 cup. So I put the rest of the 3/4 cup, and it's very, very important to shut your sparkling mineral water back very tight, because if the sparkling mineral water loses its if it loses its what do you call that? If it loses its fizz, if it loses the carbonation power, it will affect how your pancake and how your waffles come out. So you see, you kind of want it to be this soupy batter like this. You want it a little soupier than typical waffle batter. So you see it's pretty thin. So now I'm just gonna go get a quarter, so you know, I have my moss gel in here. And if you feel any big chunks, feel free to just, you know, get them out. So pretty, okay. So let me get my measuring. This is a 3/4 cup right here. So now I'm just going to oil my waffle. You don't want to use non-stick cooking spray ever on your waffle iron. You don't. But you can use 100% cooking spray if it's like grapeseed oil or avocado that has nothing else in it. If it has propellants in it, don't buy it. You see this says 100% pure cooking oil. It has no chemicals, no propellants, no preservatives. That's what you want to stick to. So this is 100% avocado oil. So I'm just going to use this, and sometimes I buy grapeseed, sometimes I buy avocado. I'm just going to use this to oil my pans. So I'm just oiling my pans here. All right. So I gave them a spray down, oiled my pans, and what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna move this to be closer to my station. So I'm just gonna scoop up. Sorry if it's a little dark, guys. So I'm gonna scoop up and start to pour. Starting to pour. Pour a little bit more, but you don't want to over pour. But I want to say if you can fill up the 3/4 cup. If you have a four square waffle iron like mine, you can use that. But if you have a one waffle iron, you can do that too. But because I'm making waffles for multitudes of people right now, I'm just using the 3/4 cup. So I'm gonna close that, and I just use my oven timer, and I put it on about 7 minutes. I find 7 minutes does a really good job with the waffle. So in about 7 minutes, these 4 waffles should be done. So you can top the waffle in so many different ways. I have some sliced strawberries right here, and I also have some walnuts. But you can top them with so much. You can top them with figs, you can top them with dates, you can top them with blueberries, with cherries, papaya pieces, you name it. I top my waffles with literally almost everything. You can top it with some tahini, which is like peanut butter. You can top it with some agave right here. So I'm gonna do mine today. Classic strawberries, agave, walnuts. Bam! That's what I'm gonna do. All right, so we've got 6 minutes. So sea moss gel. Let's talk about sea moss gel. Let me show you my sea moss gel. For all those who are curious about sea moss gel, I think my sea moss is in the fridge right here. So this is sea moss right here. If you're wondering, what is sea moss? This is sea moss right here. All right. Sea moss has a very long shelf life. Like, it really, like, I mean, oh my God, it lasts forever. If you keep it in a cool, dry place. I keep mine in my fridge only after I've had it for a while, but usually I just keep it out. But this is, 2 ounces of sea moss. I paid like $2 for this. But I find them all different prices. It all depends on the brand, where you're buying it from. I think I bought this at an African grocery market in College Park, Georgia. I found some Africans that had some sea moss right here, and this is what I use to make the sea moss that I add to my waffles. And to do this is so easy. You just wash this off really, really well. So you take the sea moss, you put it in a bowl under running cool water, and you wash it off using your fingers to really scrub and really rub the sea moss. And as you clean the sea moss will slightly start to swell because it will start to absorb some of the water, some of the liquid that you're washing it in, some of the water that you're washing it in. So you're gonna wash it very well, rubbing your fingers through it. You're gonna make sure you remove all the grit and all the sandiness. Once you've removed all the grit and all the sandiness, you can do one of two things rather. I have a quick way of making sea moss gel, and then I have the classic way of making sea moss gel. The classic way is that you would sit, after the sea moss gel is properly rinsed and drained, you would sit the sea moss gel in some just like room temperature or cool water, and you cover it. You just make sure it's covering the amount of sea moss gel that you have, and you just sit it in your fridge overnight. I've heard some people say they sit it on the counter, and it's absolutely fine overnight. I usually sit mine in the fridge. I just like to do things that way. So I sit it in the some regular room temperature spring water overnight, and then when I wake up, I completely rinse that water off, and then I put it in a pot with some more fresh spring water, and then I start to boil it. I boil it, I want to say, for maybe a good 40 minutes under a slow rolling boil, but not a fast rolling boil, like a slow rolling, I guess you can say simmer, I guess. So I do it for about 40 minutes, and then you'll see the liquid. It will start to slightly thicken up a little bit, you'll see. But what you do is, once it's boiled for about 40 minutes or so, you throw it all into your blender with some of the liquid, the new liquid, from boiling it. You throw it in with some of that, and you blend it up, and it should make this big, thick, wonderful gel for you. You store it in glass jars, and it really will last for several weeks in your fridge. But like I said, if you were watching at the beginning of this video, I keep mine in my blender compartment in my fridge, and I've had it for several weeks. I think I've had mine since I made my sea moss gel right before Thanksgiving, and it's still going strong. I put it in everything. I put it in smoothies, I put it in pancakes, I put it in waffles. Sea moss gel is very good for you, so you just keep a big container of it in the fridge, and you use it in everything. It doesn't have a seaweed taste. It only has tiny, 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 tiny subtle seaweed flakes, and whatever you add to it, gone. You don't taste anything. I've added agave, made smoothies, berries. I've added this in savory dishes. I've added it in sweet dishes. It takes on the taste of whatever you add to it. So it really is just it's so good for you. If you look up the benefits of sea moss gel, there are so many benefits to using this and incorporating it in your diet. So that's my little sea moss gel. So the quick version The quick version is that you would wash this off. You put it in a bowl with cool running water and you completely wash it off, removing all the grit and everything like that. And then once you're done really washing it off, you boil it in a good amount of water, covering it the same way in the overnight step. You boil it, and you boil it for, I would say, a slow simmer for, I want to say a little under an hour. You boil it under a slow simmer. So that's the fast way to do. And you know what? And then you blend it up the same way. I don't see any difference in the gel that it makes at all. And I've used every type of seaweed, black seaweed, purple seaweed. This right here is just Irish, just regular, the Irish moss, not, any of the colored kinds. But I've used all the different seaweeds, both fast method and the slow method, overnight method. And both of the gels come out absolutely great, very easy to make. So there's the timer on our waffles. So let me turn that off and let me put this sea moss gel back in the fridge here. Okay, so now we're just going to check on our waffles. So I'm going to lift this up to see if it's ready. All right, so obviously this is not ready. Nope, not ready yet.